So there's so much reaction, obviously, in Israel. I've been monitoring it this morning, and I didn't put up the pictures of the two victims because I'm going to cry enough during the episode without that. But I'm just seeing it somewhere else. At least two weird things going on between Israel and the United States right now. There's some reporting on it, but it's pretty opaque. One is Benjamin Netanyahu under pressure to increase humanitarian aid as he makes it clear that he's going to go back into Gaza with military force, and that's underway. So that's and what the Europeans have been pressuring Netanyahu to do more on aid, humanitarian aid, and what President Trump's posture towards that is not clear to me. It's not clear based on the public statements, and of course he skipped Israel on his trip. The other thing is it's being reported by Axios and others that the Israelis' intention, if the U.S.-Iran nuclear talks fall apart, which they could, is to finally, after more than a decade, probably 2 decades of speculation, that Israel allegedly is prepared now to engage in a military strike against Iran to try to take out their nuclear capability. I can't help but think that this tragedy is going to somehow impact what's going on. Uh, and I say this just as a matter of fact. I'm not denigrating him. I'm sure Prime Minister Netanyahu sees leverage in this. That'd be my guess. So, Mercedes, how do you think the tragedy will impact what's going on now in Gaza and what's going on with Iran?
Well, interestingly enough, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu basically said that he's going to look to beef security up in the missions, number one. Number two, I do think President Trump and his team, they are not necessarily in favor of military expansion into or these actions into Gaza. And I know that they are not in favor of Israel moving forward with any sort of preemptive strikes in Iran either, especially as President Trump coming off of his Middle East trip made that gesture towards Iran saying, hey, let's make a deal. So I think that they will, although this is a huge tragedy and it might shift a little bit in terms of basically supporting Benjamin Netanyahu, I still think the Trump administration is seeing this as a huge American problem right now that's festering in our college campuses, that is festering with these groups like Mahmoud Khalil, who obviously help organize the Palestinian students up in Columbia University. So I think their focus will be more on how do we keep revoking student visas? How do we break these student groups and who's funding these student groups that basically hone in and target Jewish students? And how are you going to fortify, for example, synagogues and places where the Jewish people come together? I think those are going to be very serious conversations that the administration is going to have. But I'm going to say one thing, Dan, with all due respect. I mean, this idea of applauding AOC. I mean, the squad in and of itself, their language has been so anti-Israel, death to Israel. So I think just dangerous rhetoric that they have pushed through, in no way trying to solve this problem that we've seen. So I find, I would wish that the Democrat Party and the squad would watch that 20 and 40-minute video that has been put together by the Israeli government showing the body cams of these Hamas terrorists who burned innocent women, children, grandparents alive. Matt and I were at the International Conference for combating anti-Semitism in Israel. We went down. We were about 1.2 miles from Gaza. We met with many of these survivors, these families of October 7th. We watched those videos of these innocent young women and men and babies being burned to death. And you listen to what they say, and that you hear these Hamas soldiers basically calling their parents saying, I killed 20 Jews, praise Allah. That is barbaric. That is completely unacceptable. And it just shows that their whole goal has been to kill off as many Jewish people as possible. And so when it comes to this humanitarian aid, we got to make sure it gets to the people, which we know for a fact that these terrorists take a huge chunk of this humanitarian aid, which has been an ongoing problem for quite some time.
Dan, let me just say one thing, if I could. And Mercedes, if I misinterpreted what you said, I apologize in advance, and I'll make it. I'll say I'm reacting to what you said, not responding.
Just don't
My
cry on me, okay? I can't
my
handle you crying. I'm just not
I
used to
just
it. Not.
I got a monitor of this off to the side, and they keep showing a picture of those two
Oh
beautiful
yeah.
young
No,
people.
it's horrific.
Anyway, so this is my general philosophy, and it's a philosophy of this program and of two-way peace, love, and understanding. What I would prefer that people on the right do, people who love Israel, support Israel, is not read AOC's tweet and say, well, look at what she's done in the past, or look at what she didn't say in the tweet. My preference would be to say, that's great. It's great. And we welcome her into the part of America that is so outraged by what happens that we express the outrage and we express solidarity and determination. I wish she had said something supportive of Israel. It would have been my preference, but I'd rather we not falter and fly spec her statement or again recite the past actions of the squad. Let's try to use a moment of unity rather than look at what she's done in the past or how she may be falling short of perfection here. That's my
You're just a better human being than I am, Mark. Just
well,
a better human being.
I just think
No, I see your point.
it'd be so much
It's just
better. It'd be so
frustrating.
much better if she brought her supporters.
Right, of
Many
course.
of her supporters are chanting, are
Yes.
protesting,
Yes.
are hostile to Israel. So I would rather have AOC help win back those people than other people than you try because you're not going to win them back,
Well,
All
Mercedes.
but
I'm gonna
I think
say,
the only thing I would say, Mercedes, is, and perhaps I am misinformed, I don't believe the squad has said death to Israel. I believe they've been pretty pro-Palestinian, right? Not where I am, right? Not where a lot of
right.
my neighbors on the
Yeah.
Upper East Side are right now. But I think, look, this is an issue that separates the Democratic Party. This is an issue that, enrages people on both sides, right? I mean, we've heard it on this platform. People who come on and talk about what's the humanitarian crisis and et cetera. And you are absolutely right. What happened in Israel is unacceptable. And look, I'll be curious to see what AOC does, right? You want to be senator, you want to be president of the United States, you're going to have to, perhaps evolve in her thinking a little bit. And so I will be curious, because this is a forward-looking political show. We talk about moments sometimes. If you're thinking of running in 2028, how do you handle this? Got to win a primary to get to the general. Party talks about it needs to change a little bit, needs to be more tolerant. These are leadership moments.
I do think the one place we can come to an agreement on is on a ceasefire, really trying to find that ceasefire moment between Israel and Gaza, something that has not been able to be accomplished in any way, which I think has been a challenge even for the Trump administration to try to accomplish that.
Yeah.
That I think has been one of the bigger challenges that I think it would be good for Republicans and Democrats to come together in trying to find that type of solution right now. And the question will be, Mark, to your point, and Dan, what is this tragedy? How is this going to play in these attempts of a possible ceasefire?
That was a delicious video experience. I think you'll agree. Now, what you need to do in return for getting to enjoy that is hit the subscribe button, be part of the two-way community, never miss a thing.